Hello and welcome to Focus on This Week, your favorite weekly program that brings you different current and dominating topics so as to influence positive change here in Tanzania, in Africa, and in the world at large. We're bringing you this episode from the Embassy of Egypt here in Dar es Salaam, where we're looking at the state of diplomatic relations between Egypt and Tanzania from the historical era up to date. So we are looking at the relation that was cemented by the founding father of the nation Tanzania, the late Julius Nyerere, and the late president of Egypt, President Gamal Abdel Nasser. So on this episode, we'll look into the ties that existed from the historical era up to date. And we actually understand that recently the president of the Arab Republic of Egypt, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, with his delegation actually arrived here in Tanzania in response to the invitation by the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. And on this visit, they were actually able to hold bilateral talks, but also to meet with the business community, which brought together business people from Tanzania and Egypt in order to strengthen the ties that existed from the historical era up to date. So stay with me from the beginning till the end of this program. I am Caroline Maleo, and this is Focus on This Week. We're bringing you this program from the Egypt Embassy here in Tanzania, where we want to find out the state of bilateral ties between Egypt and Tanzania from the historical era up to date. We clearly understand that recently the country has seen the state visit of the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt to Tanzania, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, with his delegation, where he actually came in response to the invitation by the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, President Samia Suluhu Hassan, where we actually saw that he held bilateral talks with the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, but also addressed on the business forum, which brought together business people from Egypt and the business people from Tanzania. So as I said, we're bringing you this episode from the Embassy of Egypt here in Tanzania, where I have been invited by the Ambassador of Egypt to Tanzania, His Excellency Ambassador Sherif Ismail. What an honor to have you on Focus on This Week.
I'm totally honored to be with you and to have this opportunity to speak to the Tanzanian public through this platform, and the pleasure is all mine. Welcome to the Egyptian Embassy.
Thank you so much. And welcome to Focus on This Week.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
So, Your Excellency, let's kick off the discussion for today. Can you kindly tell us the historical ties between Egypt and Tanzania? Where did they come from? We understand that it came from the era of the first president of the United Republic of Tanzania with President Abdel Nasser of Egypt. Kindly walk us through these 6 decades of ties.
This is, to start off, this is the recorded diplomatic ties. It happened that we established relations in 1964. This was the time and era of colonization liberation for all African states. All African states, Tanzania and Egypt included, were meeting eye to eye. They had similar goals. They just came out of the colonization. They wanted to build their countries. They were focusing on growth. They were focusing on how to develop. They were focusing on how together become an African union for the benefit of the whole continent. So they met eye to eye. They had very similar views. You know, now even when you look back at these first muallimus of Egypt and Tanzania, we see that their views are as much similar today as they were back in the day. So I think they paved the way with a very, very deep vision of what was to come. And they made or left for us a roadmap that is very easy to follow. It is very basic. We respect each other. We look into the opportunities that we can provide to one another. We share the same visions for the whole continent and for our peoples and for our countries.
And how has this relation evolved now over time? You said that they left us a roadmap to follow, but how has these ties evolved?
The relations are excellent throughout the period of establishing diplomatic relations, but there are some points that we have to stand and focus on. Like these points, they happened when exchanges of presidential visits do take place. Uh, you know, as people, as business, as countries, as officers, as government, we all rely on, the direction that we are led into. And this direction, especially in when it comes to politics and international relations, is set within the framework of the parameters that is led by the heads of state. So when this happens, we understand and we follow, and we try to build on the results of such meetings, of such high-level meetings, and we do our best, as I said, for our people and countries. We always seek a win-win situation. We always seek equal win of engagement. If we look at it from one side only, it will never happen, it will never benefit, it will never work. So we always engage in a win-win manner. We try to seek opportunity. As government, as embassy, we try to pave the way for those who are on the ground that can really make a difference. And I speak in particular about business, because we understand government is not always the best option to lead such engagements, but we are the best to lead the way and pave the way for other doers to follow and make things happen on the ground.
Now, before we talk about a state visit that happened recently, specifically, earlier on you mentioned that the early leaders, our Mwalimus of both nations, they had a vision of unity. That's why the two countries had to come together and, have bilateral relations. But do you think that vision of unity has been achieved, maybe not only just between Egypt and Tanzania, but also all around Africa?
As we see Africa today, I cannot say it is happening, but as I see it in reflection of political sense, I see it on the way to happen. It is a political will to begin with. But we have a common agenda, Africa 2063, where all our leaders, they come together and agree. We have to reach milestones and we have to make a roadmap to follow for the benefit of the whole continent. We are facing the same challenges. We are all in the same boat, as we say, and we are as close to one another as can be. We're a big family, and within a family, of course, ups and downs do happen. But the main focus and the main idea is to always remain with the thought that we are a family. We belong to each other, we belong to one continent, and we share the same future. So if we don't work together, who would work for our benefit? We cannot wait for outsiders to come and give us the assistance or give us the requirements that we seek. We have to do it by our own selves, by our own means, and by our own actions.
And Your Excellency, as you have explained, but why does it feel like, you mentioned political will, but why does it feel like in some African nations, still other Africans of other nations are not accepted, are not welcomed? Well, we are one. It was a vision of most of the founding fathers of the African nations. When you want to move to another country, we still have borders, we still have restrictions for other Africans. Well, we're just one.
Sometimes we are looking into things from a perspective of speed. Of course, we need to speed up action, but we have to have, for all the countries, they have to rest assured that all their concerns are met. There are also security concerns. Unfortunately, some parts of our continent suffer from terrorism. We had this in Egypt as well. We have to understand that freedom of movement does not jeopardize the security of other nations. So this is something that we have to seek and understand. We support each other to reach security, to reach stability. And this is, by the way, where Egypt and Tanzania meet eye to eye. We have the same vision regarding the security and stability of the continent. I always say that Egypt and Tanzania are very similar, that we are, and I say it out of total respect to all the countries, but there are matter of facts. Egypt, for example, is an oasis of stability within a very turbulent area. The same might also be applicable to Tanzania. We wish that stability does overflow to everyone, and that all countries and all peoples of this great continent, they understand and reap the benefits of stability, development, and real growth.
And what lesson does the ties between Egypt and Tanzania deliver to other African countries, maybe?
We try to make ourselves as a model, should we say. We have developed, we have engaged in a way that is beneficial to both sides, as I say. We have, for example, if I may say it so, we have joined together to make dreams come true. And I speak in particular about the Julius Nyerere hydropower plant.
Yes.
This is a dream project for Tanzania that will help and induce development and growth for this great nation. And we are very, very proud and very humbled that we have been chosen as the contractor to deliver such projects. From my place here, I understand and believe that we have done the best job possible. We have delivered the project. It is up and running. It is 100% operational. And this is something that we have to showcase to all of Africa. We in the continent, we do have the ability, we do have the capacity, we do have the maybe enough experience to move together hand in hand for our own dreams, our own future, our own development. Let us share together in truthfulness, in honesty, what we can do for one another. Tanzania has factors, Egypt has factors. Put together, we are stronger. If we do not strengthen ourselves with each other, then again, I say, this is not the real idea of a family. The family, they come together in support of one another to understand, to develop, to grow together, and to benefit together.
And Your Excellency, you mentioned the Julius Nyerere hydropower project, and during the state visit of President El-Sisi, we heard President Samia, she mentioned that this project is actually a symbol of, African, it represented the Africa using its own resources, its own people to develop a project which is actually successful, and as you have explained. What benefit has it so far provided maybe to the people of Egypt and to the people of Tanzania in terms of job opportunities and more?
First of all, it is a vast, vast project that you cannot even comprehend how big it is unless you see it in person. I was privileged to go to the site maybe 5-6 times. Every time I really do get goosebumps just with the idea of the magnitude of the project. It is immense, it is huge. It costed a lot of money coming from the Tanzanian people, but inshallah it will be also put into good use to also make development happen. Development without energy cannot happen. Energy is the main source. It is a renewable source of energy. It's green energy, so it is beneficial to everyone. But the project is not only about energy. The project is about also sharing and capacity building. What we have done in this project is that we made for Tanzania a technical base of 10,000 plus workers, laborers, and technicians that now have the skill and capacity to do again this project or similar projects throughout Tanzania, throughout neighboring countries, throughout Africa, or even beyond. They now have the skill. There's a proverb, don't give me the fish, teach me how to fish.
Yes.
So it is the idea that now the experience is shared. It is known. From the Egyptian side, being trusted with such a huge project, giving us the opportunity to share the success of making it happen, this is for us also beneficial. We can tell the whole world, the whole of Africa, we are ready to come and support delivering your own dreams of development. You have projects of infrastructure. We have companies that are ready, able, willing, and capable to deliver what you need in the shortest time with the highest specs. This is what we did in the Julius Nyerere hydropower plants. And please, if possible, I don't know if you have gone there or not, but please, I invite you, if I am allowed to say so, but of course this is from the government of Tanzania, to go there, to have also the viewers see the magnitude of such a project, and maybe you will see why I'm so passionate about it.
But Your Excellency, you know, there's a question that clicked in my mind. If Julius Nyerere hydropower project was, you know, a success, what is it that has made Africa?
Excuse me, I will say it is a success.
It is,
It is and remains, inshallah, always a success.
Indeed. What is it that has made, you know, some African projects, you know, that are done by the Africans themselves not to be a success?
I will not go into other experiences. I will speak only of what I know. What I know is what was requested was 100% delivered. What is needed for capacity building, for understanding, for training, for all of these on a personal level, it was also delivered. And what I truly look for is the benefit that comes out of this project. Tanzania now has at its disposal 2,115 megawatts of power. This is huge. This is huge. It will fulfill all its energy requirements and have also a surplus to also share with neighboring countries if it's possible and required. Of course, this is something to be exchanged between the countries of the region, but it is there, the capacity is there.
And Your Excellency, can you kindly tell us other projects that may be done in relations between Tanzania and Egypt, other economic projects?
Let's say this project, you know, as they say, this is the appetizer. Now, because of this success, I think both our leaders, they have taken us to the next step. In the recent visit of my president here, it has been exchanged, what's next? What can we do together? Not only for both countries, not only for both people, but for all of Africa. You know, we have been here in the embassy, and my colleagues also in the Tanzanian embassy or High Commission in Cairo. We always look into how to further deepen relations. And we have like vast scope of an idea of which sectors or where to focus on. The biggest boost for the relations would be connectivity. Connectivity in all sense. Connectivity for people, connectivity for products, connectivity for vessels. And this is what we're hoping to be happening in the next phase after the very successful and historic visit of my president here on the 18th of July, 2026. Logistics and port-to-port connectivity, this is the main focus coming because it opens door for very varied and very needed exchange of products.
Which products specifically?
Anything that is required for Tanzania, anything that is required for Egypt, and it is possible to get from the other country, it is possible to exchange, considering time factor and cost factor. Having a direct vessel between our two ports will make this happen. For the time being, the statistics that we have for any exchange of products by vessel between Egypt and Tanzania, it takes in a range of 45 to 50 days. This is too long. If we have a direct, maybe it would be 10 days or even less. So this, for products like we need, for example, in Egypt as food or meat or something of the for our own food security. This is possible to happen within 10 days. But for 45 or plus days, it is a very long time. And it is more expensive to make it by cargo freight. So this is a needed. We also look into connectivity by road. We have the Cairo-Cape Town road. Egypt and Tanzania are part of this road. We are hoping that all countries along this way and path will be able to also fulfill their parts of this road so that we have more connectivity. This is the inducing factor that helps make trade and exchange of goods happen.
And so far, what investment opportunities have you discovered that are here in Tanzania for Egypt? And in Egypt for Tanzanian investors as well?
I haven't discovered, because business, it attracts itself.
Oh, yeah.
But what I'm very happy to share with yourself and your viewers, we are currently in the number 8 rank as the biggest foreign investors in Tanzania, with an accumulated investments of almost 1.4 billion US dollars. I am hoping for more. I am hoping for more.
To go high.
There's always the first 3 spots are always under the limelight. So we're hoping to go higher. Opportunity is there. What we understand from business is that options into different sectors are being explored. We have investments happening in tourism. We have investments happening in pharmaceuticals. We have investments happening even car manufacturing and spare parts. And we have, on the sidelines of the state visit, we had a very big business forum bringing together Egyptian and Tanzanian businessmen and investors. And out of this forum, of course, there was the political support. Our 2 leaders, they met the business communities of both countries to give a message of support, of course. But also in this business forum, there were signing of 7 MOUs for Egyptian investments to happen here in a new industrial park being developed by El Suidi company. So these investments will accumulate to almost $50 million in various sectors. So when this is happening, it will also further deepen relations. It is for both local market and exports. So it will also not only help in fulfilling the needs of the market, but also generating foreign currency from exports. And of course, the more important is that it will create jobs.
Jobs for Tanzanians.
This is mainly Tanzanians, because it's happening here.
In the country.
But the idea is, when you look into investments, when you look at new businesses, you want to create jobs. Tanzania and Egypt, we are growing by a high percentage. And we have a very youthful population. So all the time, focus should be on creating of jobs, giving the opportunity to employ these new incomers to the market. So this is what we are doing here in Tanzania. And as I say always, it is a win-win situation. As I learned from the businessman, investments happen after testing markets with trade. That's why I go back to the idea of we need to induce exchange and trade. For Egypt, for example, we bring here cement, some pharmaceutical equipment, and maybe some small machinery or something of the sort for crop and agriculture. Tanzania, likewise, they export to Egypt beans, tea, coffee beans, and tea, cashew nuts, and all sorts of agricultural crops. Maybe we have ideas to make value added here. Investments here for packaging, investments here for processing food. So this is, when you have trade and you have this exchange, it's setting the stage for the next step. And the next step happens to be investments. Okay.
And are there exchange programs maybe for in the health sector, in the tourism sector, in different sectors between Tanzania and Egypt?
We provide to our agency of cooperation opportunity for capacity building in all sectors that is required. Military, security, health sector, agriculture, fishing, all sectors. And we always say to our brothers and sisters in Tanzania, please share with us your requirements. If we are able to fulfill, we will definitely do that. It will be our pleasure to share our knowledge and our experiences for the benefit of the Tanzania government, people, and society. we wish to see development happen. Tanzania, when it develops, Egypt develops. When Egypt develops, Tanzania develops. When both of us develop, all of Africa develops. This is something of a common, like, win-win for all of us. You know, we are facing together, and the whole continent, outside enforced on us political and geopolitical scenarios. It is impossible for each country on its own to deal with such scenarios. The magnitude is much bigger than our personal or singular reaction and involvement. So we have to really understand that we are for each other. We benefit together, we grow strength together, and this is what needs to happen. This is what we need to do, and this is the model that Egypt and Tanzania together can give out to the rest of the continent.
And Your Excellency, you clearly mentioned, there is the issues that are going on in the geopolitical world, conflicts that are going on maybe in the Middle East. There is intervention of the Western or, the foreign world to African issues. But there is, you can find African countries, both inside the countries, there are conflicts that are going on. There are conflicts that from one country to another in the continent. What should Africa now do, to be able to fully unite it? You mentioned unity as a very important thing, but are the leaders or the people of Africa themselves ready for that?
I think by human nature, what everyone is seeking, and eventually what countries and people and bigger colonies are seeking, is to live in peace and stability. I think this is how it is in human nature. Some factors do come in space. When it's political, when it's security, or when it's supportive of requests and visions of others outside the continent, this is where the problem happens. We're hoping, as I said, that we tell the people of Africa what happens in conflict does not benefit anyone. Conflict only results in loss. It never results in gain.
But do they really, Your Excellency, do they really not know that?
Perhaps they know, but perhaps they also need to be guided somehow to understand that options are there. Conflict is not
an option.
Is not the way to reach what is required.
Yeah, Your Excellency, we have integrations. We have maybe African Union, we have East African Community, we have SADC. Why aren't they doing anything on that? Or they're doing something, but still.
Let us not be harsh on ourselves. All of Africa received its freedoms from colonization perhaps up until the 1990s. These few years in the history of nations is very minimal. Maybe in our lifetime it is huge, but in the history of nations it is not. Evolvement happens over an extended period of time. Maybe because we live in a time and age where speed is always in focus, we want everything to happen quickly. But we must also understand that things have to develop naturally so that it's everlasting. We can enforce peace, but how can we ensure that it's lasting? This is a development stage that has to happen from within each country so that they understand that we are ready for the next stage. We have learned the lessons. We do not want to go back to conflict. Conflict does not result in anything except loss, as I said. So this is something that we have to always explain. We have to always tell the others. We have to even share experiences to tell them this is our case when it happened to us, and we had to develop an end to the conflict so that we can focus on the more important things, which is development. Development is where things really start to come to happen for everyone's benefit.
Indeed.
But unfortunately, conflict does not.
Conflicts does not.
Yeah.
And do you see a future where Africa will be fully united, where we'll not be having conflicts, where peace will be actually achieved as the human nature which demands peace, as you said?
As an Egyptian, I'm always fond of history and the lessons of history. I will take the experience of Europe, for example. Europe in the 1400s and even before, they were always in conflict. They were always at war. The whole world paid the price of World War I, World War II. But look where we are today. So if this is possible somewhere, it is possible everywhere. It is the idea that you have to believe in the gain of cooperation and conflict resolution. When you reach this point, you look forward to a brighter future. When you give hope to the people, they always seek to fulfill that hope, to live a dream. Nobody wants to carry guns and go out to shoot and kill. This is, I feel it's against human nature. I'm not sure. I have never been in the situation where I did that, but I think it is against human nature. Everybody wants to have joy, everybody wants to have fun, everybody wants to go out, enjoy the sun, the sea, and have a stable family life. Conflict does not give that.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for that explanation. Now let's go back to the state visit of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Can you kindly tell us how has the leadership of President Samia Suluhu Hassan strengthened diplomacy between the two countries, Egypt and Tanzania, that even led to the state visit of President el-Sisi? And then you can walk us through what happened on this visit.
Let me take you back to March 2021. That was the year that Her Excellency President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan came to office. In that year, in November 2021, we were very happy to receive Her Excellency in Cairo in a state visit. I think in that meeting, it was the first direct exchange between our two presidents on that level. But that set the tone for what is coming. You understand when people meet both ideologically, in friendly manner, in a brotherly and sisterly manner, it eases the way forward. And I think this is what happened. You know that the term usually is, it clicked. Somehow the visions, they were very similar. There was an understanding of what needs to be done. There was an understanding of what can happen. There was an understanding of how both countries can move forward together and set the model for the rest of the continent. Ever since that time, there has always been like an annual exchange between our two leaders, which is very important. So later in the following year, Her Excellency also raised Egypt to a visit to Sharm el-Sheikh to participate in the COP27. The following year in 2023 in Dubai, I think it was that the leaders met. 2024 on the sidelines of the G20 in Rio de Janeiro, they also met. And 2025 it couldn't happen, but there was a phone call. And in 2026 we had the state visit of our president here. This gives us, not only as embassies, but as peoples, an idea of how development and cooperation is happening between the two countries. We have to follow the outcomes and know that we have the political support of the two leaders of the nations. And this is where we want to focus on how to make benefit of the special relations that binds the two leaders, the two governments, of course, for the benefit of the two countries and people.
And what happened now in the meeting?
It was a very open, candid, friendly, brotherly, sisterly meeting. Everything was put on the table in a very clear and very honest way. I think this is the best way to move forward within the family setting, as I always say. And I think it was supposed to be like a half an hour meeting, but it extended just to as a reflection of how important the exchange was. Many ideas of cooperation were exchanged. Many directives were given, either to the government of Egypt or to the government of Tanzania. We are now working together, inshallah, to make things happen according to the results of the state visit. I go back again to the state visit. We had two MOUs, memorandums of understanding. They were signed. And this is one is in the field of transport. As I said, this is a very, very important step forward. And the other is in the field of energy and renewable energy, where we can exchange experiences and see the projects that we can support with. And hopefully this will also take shape and form in our joint efforts to deepen cooperation between the two countries.
And so far, have there been any challenges in the relations between the two countries?
Challenges always happen. But what is more important is the vision and the guidance to overcome any challenge. And this is what we have in the relations between Egypt and Tanzania. Because we have open dialogue, because we have mutual understanding, because we come from a background of knowing where each country stands. In the very, very small instances that even challenges is a big word, maybe differences or maybe some other less than differences have occurred. There's an opportunity to talk, exchange, and solve. So this is the maturity level at which our two relations stand.
And as Tanzania has started implementing their Vision 2050, DIRA 2050, a blueprint that shows where Tanzania, wants to achieve in the next 25 years to reach that $1 trillion economy. How is, Egypt now working with Tanzania to support that vision to come into reality? How does the next 25 years of relations between Tanzania and Egypt look like?
First of all, this is a very local plan. But still, it requires involvement with friends and brothers outside the border. We do not shape what happens here, but we do have our share of how we can support, and we do wish to support. So by inducing investments, by helping in connectivity, by improving export facilities for Tanzania, by helping support sectors such as agriculture, this is an indirect way that we do help support the realization of Vision 2050. The agricultural sector, I say in particular because this is perhaps the biggest sector in Tanzania, and where our real opportunity lies to import more products from Tanzania. Egypt is a net importer of food. We do not, by the way, wish to import food items for the consumption of Egypt only, but we are also offering opportunity whereby products can be stored in Egypt for re-export to newer markets, either in Europe or North Africa or the Middle East. So together we can see opportunity and open new scopes of engagement, either new markets or our own market, or in any way possible that we can support and be helpful and beneficial to one another.
And look for ways to increase the rank to number one, maybe, of investment.
Inshallah, I hope.
Let's talk about the recent commemoration of the Egypt National Day. Yeah, what message would you want Tanzanians, to get regarding the Egyptian National Day? What has the country Egypt now come from so far?
Well, we celebrated on the 22nd of July the 74th anniversary of the National Day of Egypt. It happens to be on the 23rd of July, actually, but we celebrated one day earlier. The idea of the National Day is that we commemorate the change from like a monarchy to a republic. This was very important for all Egyptians because it gave them the feeling that they have ownership of the country. They have ownership of how it is moving forward. It gave them equal opportunity. It gave them basic rights. You know, sometimes as time elapses, some like maybe deviations from the goals happen. So we had a reigniting of the visions again in 2011, 2013 with the recent revolutions that we had also. And now, as we say, we're in the Second Republic. And if you had the opportunity to see Egypt, you would see how Egypt is growing at a speed that we do not even believe it is possible or happening, despite the challenges that is enforced on Egypt. We are growing at such a pace, making new development happen, invigorating new opportunities, hoping to engage more and more outside our borders for shared benefit, exporting our knowledge. And this is the face of new Egypt, the Egypt that is home to all. All Egyptians find a place. The rule of law is respected, human rights is respected. And this is what we are hoping that will be developing also as we grow bigger and bigger, inshallah.
Congratulations to Egypt.
Thank you so much.
You also mentioned exporting knowledge. We understand, as you explained, and you were saying Egypt is growing each day at a fast pace. We understand that even in the back then, Egyptians could create the pyramids. It was a time that even there was no knowledge, so much knowledge that can help Africans to be able to make such pyramids. And with the development that is there today, as you're explaining, how are you spreading that knowledge now to other African countries, maybe?
As I said, we have the programs being made by the Egyptian Agency of Partnership for Development. We have scholarships that we give out to our brothers and sisters in the United Republic of Tanzania. We do listen to what is required, and we do share where possible any experiences. The exchange happening allows for us and Tanzania to speak freely and to speak vividly on what is required. And we do provide what we can, if we can. Okay. So.
And Your Excellency, as we're about to conclude the program, what untapped opportunities can Tanzanians now get in Egypt? I think you haven't touched on that. Can they tap the opportunities maybe to invest?
I welcome them with open arms and hearts. It is always beneficial when we have a two-sided exchange. For now, I don't think we have any investments from Tanzania in Egypt. Whereas being in Tanzania, I know that you have very capable businessmen who can come to Egypt and be very successful in products of food products, in tourism, in many sectors.
But Your Excellency, it's been 6 decades of relations. Why haven't we, as Tanzanian investors, tapped that opportunity?
This is a question to be asked to Tanzanians, actually, but let me say that what we try to do is we explain to the Tanzanian business environment what options are there. We are open to Tanzanians, of course, and we welcome them. As I said, the role that we do, either as Embassy of Egypt in Tanzania or Embassy of Tanzania in Cairo, we shed light on the opportunities. We make also the agreements between government to government to ease making of business and exchange. Our counterparts in Egypt, the Tanzanian ambassador and their team, they hosted in the beginning of June, in the first week of June, a very big investment forum that also shed some light on opportunities, investment opportunities and trade exchange opportunities. It was followed in July here with the business forum that happened on the sideline of the presidential visit. So we are trying to open eyes to opportunities. The decision is not in our hands. It is in the hands of the businessmen and entrepreneurs. But let me say that as much as Egypt is interested in Tanzania as a 62 million like consumer market, and even beyond, because you have the SADC and you have the EAC, so it's a much wider like market. The same happens also and has to be in focus from the Tanzanian side. Egypt now is almost 115 million. Not only does Egypt make its own market, but it is a market also for 1.3 billion in COMESA, in North Africa, in the Middle East, and even beyond to Europe. So opportunity is there. It is just to make the decision. And this decision, it has to come from the business sector.
Indeed. And as we are concluding now, lastly, Your Excellency, how does the future of the ties between Tanzania and Egypt look like?
I love this term. It is the sky is the limit. Our two leaders, they have paved the way. They have guided government. They have supported business. And opportunity is just there to be exploited in a win-win manner. Nobody could come and think that they will benefit vis-a-vis the other side. No, it will not happen. No one will allow it. It has to be a win-win where everybody is benefited from such an exchange. We have so many sectors that we can cooperate in. Already I stated some sectors that will be starting to operate in a new fashion. Other sectors are also being promoted, are being also supported. And we're hoping that investment will grow, trade exchange will grow. When the direct vessel line and the expansion of the Dar es Salaam port happens, inshallah, we're hoping it induces more trade and induces more benefit for the two countries and people.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
And my pleasure. Thank you.
That was the ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt to Tanzania, His Excellency Sheriff Ismail, who has been with us in the program, and he has actually dived and explained to us about the relations between Egypt and Tanzania from the historical era up to date. And actually, he explained on the opportunities that haven't been tapped by Tanzanian investors in Egypt. So it's your time, to tap into those opportunities. Leading the program, as always, I was your host, Caroline Maleo, and of course, we were together from the beginning till the end. On behalf of the whole team, until next time, bye-bye.